Another one of those recipes which were always requested, but I never really got into the whole air fryer thing. I'll explain why in a bit. I have 3 tablespoons of regular jerk marinade. To that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of extra spicy. Now here's the thing, you can go to CaribbeanPot.com and you'll see a recipe for making these, but this is straight out of a jar I got. 2 of my favorites out of the grocery store. Go out and support the local economy, man. Let the Caribbean people get a little of your business a little bit too now. Anyhow, the reason for that, the spicy one is very spicy, so I'm trying to balance things off here. Now, a good jerk marinade will already have thyme, but I add a little bit more thyme because I have a lot of time. Nah, I don't have a lot of time, but I love the sort of pronounced flavor of thyme. I also like the pronounced flavor of scallions, so that is what I have going in there. And that is 2 scallions that I gave a rough chop to. To thin it down, I've got apple juice. Normally, I'd use orange juice because I love citrus, but I'm gonna add some lime juice for my citrus, so I thought I'd bring a bit of sweetness with the apple juice. If you don't have apple juice, don't worry about that. That's just some light olive oil. If you have vegetable oil, coconut oil, whatever you want, you can certainly use that. We're just gonna hit this a little, yeah, we have to. Yeah, we gotta do a little roll there just to be able to get the juice out of it. And you notice the limes we get here in North America, no seeds, eh? I'm telling you. Real convenient, but how will I have no seed? Anyhow, that is, let me just juice that in there, and we're just thinning down the jerk marinade that we use, and by adding that little bit burst of citrus, you're gonna love me for that one. Here's the thing, this is all about simplicity and making things quick and easy for you. But again, if you want the recipe for making jerk marinades, head over to CaribbeanPot.com. One more thing I do like adding is a tablespoon of light brown sugar, and that is going to help with the caramelization and the coloring as we proceed in making this in the air fryer. All we got to do now is give that a thorough mix, and we're going to split this in half. Well, in thirds. I'm going to leave back a third, and I'm going to use 2/3 in the chicken, and I have the chicken here. This is about 2.5, almost 3 pounds of chicken drumsticks. It has the skin on there. If you want to remove the skin, you can go ahead and remove that skin. I'm gonna keep the skin on there. I really like the skin because when that jerk marinade go on there and that caramelize on there, so it's all kind of niceness happening. But the whole idea here is to kind of keep this healthy. So if you want to take off the skin, we're using the air fryer, as I said. Take the skin off. But what I did was I went ahead and I removed most of the fat that I can see. And I am from the Caribbean, so I washed my chicken and I drained it. If you don't normally do that, I highly recommend you don't start now because you're not a professional like me. Let me just say that. And that's a final little stir. And we want to hold back, I said, a third of it. What you're gonna go ahead and do now with this third, you're gonna add about 4 tablespoons of barbecue sauce, your favorite barbecue sauce. I have quite a few barbecue sauce recipes on CaribbeanPot.com, but I'm just using another store-bought barbecue sauce. Give that a good mix, and later on, we're gonna slap that onto these chicken legs. Boy, I'm telling you. Anyhow, we gotta go in there. Now, if you're using your bare hands to do this, be mindful. The spicy, well, both jerk marinades, the spicy and the mild, will have Scotch bonnet pepper in there. Yeah, wash your hand with soap and water after if you have any little cuts and all that, expect a burn. But you can just, we need to set this aside to marinate for 2 hours. So I'm going to give that a good toss and let that marinate for 2 hours. Couple hours marinating. I did give it a toss just because I want everything to be sitting in the bowl in the marinade here. And I'm putting it into the air fryer now, and you want some space in between. And this is where I have the issue with air fryers. Now I have my oven, which is an air fryer, but the last time, which I can accommodate a lot of pieces of chicken, but people kind of saying, Uncle Chris showing off with his new oven, so I didn't want to pull that one out. I wanted to show you all I can rock the smaller ones that's sold at the Walmart and the Costco and the wherever else. But the problem I have with it is I love chicken. I love it. I love cooking. I love eating. And this small capacity here, if you have a big family, it just does not work. So I'm going to have to end up doing this. Well, I could probably sneak a couple more pieces in there. Well, I won't. That's the problem I have with air fryers. One of them is that the capacity. So look at that. Because I want that space in between, yeah, I might got to do it in batches. Not so much. That's too much work for me. Yeah, I'm being a bad boy. I'm just going to sneak it all the pieces in there. So there's 2, 4, 5, and 5, 10 pieces. You're just going to have to stay in there. The rest of the marinade, I'm just going to hit them just a slight drizzle, because remember, clean up later. Eh? Always remember about cleaning up after. When you have this kind of messy kind of something, it will mean a bit of work. Any of the marinade that's left back now, that goes into the rubbish, because we're not trying to baste it with it later on because of cross-contamination. Yeah? So I'm using the chicken setting on this, which is 380 degrees for 25 minutes, but I will keep an eye on things. After about 10 minutes, after about 7 minutes, I'll come back and I'll flip them just to get even coloring and stuff like that. Now, if you don't have the chicken setting on there, I would prefer to do this at 370. Start it at 370, and later on we'll crank up the heat when we put the barbecue sauce on it. And to flip them, like, yeah, it really was crowded, but small thing, man. We're just gonna flip them over and it's gonna continue cooking. You notice the colors we're starting to have there already. Did I say colors? Well, the color. This boy and his English, I tell you, you need to go back to school, yes, son. Sort of fan noise that you're hearing there is the ventilation on the air fryer. What I went ahead and did now, I added the barbecue sauce to the leftover marinade. Not leftover, but the one that we set aside. Remember, we said we used 2/3 in marinating the chicken, and we held back 1/3 that hasn't come in contact at all with raw chicken. So we're gonna slap this onto the chicken after it's fully cooked. Hit that barbecue sauce, one more little stir, and then we're gonna slap that onto the pieces of chicken. We will need to flip these, but what we're gonna do in the interim, well, not the interim, once we put them back into the air fryer there, we will crank up the heat to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Went ahead and I hit it another, I flipped them over and I hit it another slapping of that barbecue sauce. After the first layer of barbecue sauce, I allowed it to go for 3 minutes. After the second layer of barbecue sauce, 3.5, almost 4 minutes. So let's quickly recap. We got those drumsticks, we trimmed off all the fat that we can find, we left the skin on there. I washed mine. I don't know what you're gonna do with yours. Then we marinated it with a simple marinade of stuff that we can find at the grocery store. However, we did add some apple juice and some brown sugar, some fresh thyme, some scallion, just to enhance the flavor just a little bit more. We allowed it to marinate for about 2 hours, I said. Then into the air fryer. We had it at, I think it was 380 degrees. When it was all done, we cranked up the heat to 400. We reserved 1/3 of the the jerk marinade that we sort of created there. Well, with help, we Columbus the thing. Columbus. Aye. Anyhow, we added some barbecue sauce to the 1/3 that we held back. We basted it on for 3 minutes, then 4 minutes. Boom, it's all done. Jerk chicken drumsticks in the air fryer. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them bots will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you all in the kitchen with me. We made jerk chicken drumsticks in the air fryer. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. Yo, give it a try, man. Irie. What's up, soldiers? Don't forget to click subscribe. If you've already clicked subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. I want to all you missing out on the new videos, man. Come on, click.